What is up, everybody? What is up? Happy Friday. Yeah, say happy Friday to everybody, Seiji. How's everybody doing out there? Happy weekend, everybody. It is Friday, and we have seen some very interesting things throughout LSU. I understand dog days of summer, but believe me, there is plenty meat on the bone if you guys are all looking in the right directions, which as I talk with a lot of you, I know that you are. So exactly, buddy. So I am sure this live Q&A will be a good time where you basically ask anything, throw down anything, say whatever, hey, I have an opinion on this. I have a question on that. We will entertain all and try to have a good time here with everybody and try and get something going, some type of electricity, because I get it's the dog days of summer, but get elevated, get intense, get a giant steam breathing, ass kicking, aggressive mentality when it comes to LSU football is right around that corner. Right around the corner. LSU football is right around the corner. One second. Damn, we were hoping that the intro would have been seen by everybody. Damn, we for some reason only put to go live on YouTube and of course LSUODYSSEY.COM. And we didn't press the X button, so we just pressed the X button. What an terrible oversight by me. Everybody, how's it going? LSU in the throes of summer workouts where, not much is coming out of the program. You see some glimpses of things here or there. Of course, the Garrett Nussmeier moment where he is speaking to the team, intense. And really, it's nothing I wouldn't have expected. It's exactly what I would have come to expect from someone like Garrett Nussmeier. This is footage courtesy of LSU football, LSU sports, I should say. This was crazy. This was intense. Don't copyright strike me, whoever. It's ridiculous. I get copyright strikes for stuff that's my own material sometimes. It's like, what the hell? I literally showed nothing that wasn't original in this entire episode. Still get a copyright strike. But we're talking about the really sweaty business in summer that wins championships going down right now. There's Major Burns and there's Jacoby and Guillory. Probably Perkins right there. That was in the yellow shirt. And then Caleb. Tug of war going down here. Look at this. Whew. That's Kyle Parker. Mason Taylor's liking that shit. Mason Taylor's like just a madman. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to be little glimpses here and there because here's the thing. This is a season with a lot riding on it. I don't think Kelly's going to let much access at all. Besides, the typical let people in for 10 minutes of practice, let the media in, that type of stuff. I don't think we're going to see much. Here's what's a great thing, though. Zy Alexander photo here. He's back in summer workouts. That is fantastic news. He missed spring and basically half of the season last year, but was, he got picked on in some games and got some touchdowns caught on him, but he did turn it around and become pretty damn good by the end of, his tenure at LSU when he got hurt last summer. Last fall. So going into this summer, Zy, what could he be the first string starting corner next, opposite Ashton Stamps, Toviano, J.K. Johnson, whoever you want to say, but is Zy Alexander that guy? I mean, we'll see. We'll see in fall camp. There was one of Chris Hilton Jr. Here's one who skipped of Kyle Parker. Look at him. He's just absolutely ripped. I mean, that dude looks shredded. Look at that upper body. I mean, just ridiculous. Absolutely break people. Try and tackle him, you're going to get screwed up. And then Chris Hilton Jr., who has always been, not really lerpy or skinny too much or looking like, a twig or something. Like he had some meat on the bones, but like he looks so much more thick in a good way, in a steely way than ever before. Like he looks really in a ripped state of mind here and a ripped state of body. Look at this here. The forearms, upper body, the chest. He's going to take some shots this season. There's some guys who are pissed off about getting just burnt and turnt by Malik Neighbors all last year. They're going to take that out or try to take that out on guys like Chris Hilton Jr., Kyron Lacey. You think you're going to be the next? I'm going to show you. And it's up to Chris. It's up to Kyron to embarrass those fools. Harold Perkins there. You can see Will back here in the corner, in the left corner with that bandana. That guy is so like 1980s, movie. I just love it. Like he'd be a character in Red Dawn. Oh God, the golden cleats thing. Brilliant, Jaden Daniels. Here we go. Here we go. We wanted to find this.
For me, what it means to be at LSU, it means everything. As most of y'all know, I grew up moving around a lot, so I was always around kind of the college football world, and the brand of LSU is something that's almost indescribable. If you think about the entire population of this entire state and most kids, literally from ages 8 to 16 across the entire country, every single one of them at every single position that we all play want to be in this room. They want to be in our meetings. They want to be with us when we live. So when you approach each rep, when you approach each set, when you approach each meeting, do that shit the right way, because one, somebody will try to replace you, and two, these coaches will replace you. That's what it means. To be here, you have this gift, this opportunity. This is not it's not given. This is a privilege. Like we get an opportunity to play for LSU. LSU is going to be here a long time after us, and it's been here a long time before us. It's what you want to do with your opportunity to be a part of this program. For me, what it means to be at LSU.
Shit. And there's a lot of people who love that cold-blooded, like, you will be replaced, and we will, like, people love that type of shit now. And so he's talking about, like, it's rhetoric that people are going to love, the fans are going to love. It's rhetoric that some of his teammates are going to love. I'm sure probably all of them pumped up by it. But at the same time, I can see LSU putting out clips like this all summer of every line of dialogue from Garrett Nussmeier that sounds even remotely like a Burrow line, and just like, and I don't think that's good for I think they should just let the situation be how it is right now and let Garrett Nussmeier kind of come into the season under the radar a bit. I think it doesn't really matter. I think he can handle any type of pressure, any type of, expectations put on his shoulders. I want to make it as easy as possible for him. So then when he needs to make plays, it's almost just go execute something you've always been, you've basically been born to do. So I have total faith in Garrett Nussmeier. I think it's kind of funny seeing a lot of people who completely were not on the Nussmeier train and took any support of Garrett Nussmeier. Anytime I'd write an article about Garrett Nussmeier, it was, he's not starting. What are you doing writing an article for him? It's like, he's still a quarterback, he's still a player on the team. What are you talking about? And people would take it like a slight towards Jaden Daniels. And it's kind of funny now to see those people with videos like this spinning 360 right back in the same kind of horseshoe direction of a viewpoint where it's the same but just to the other extreme, where now they're completely on his side. Now they're on the Nuss bus firmly because of just a video like this. They haven't seen how hard he works and how much he's progressing, which would make you really salivate as a fan. Like, we're going to have another Heisman-worthy quarterback this next season, potentially 2 next seasons. A kid who's already been here for 3 years. Like, he's got a lot of experience already as a Tiger. He's already seen the pitfalls and some of the mistakes that quarterbacks can make in this college football world. He's seen it all. And he's been thrown into some games where I think the learning experience was incredible. I think especially for a quarterback and a quarterback coach's son, little brother Colton as well, quarterback. It's a quarterback family. But his father, Doug, national championship winning quarterback coach for Alabama at one point, quarterback coach for the Cowboys for a long time. I believe the Chargers currently. I'm not sure exactly currently, but it could be the Chargers. But Doug Nussmeier and him probably went over everything, his cameo in the SEC championship game where he comes in. I think it was right before half or just at halftime, just the complete second half, and he just destroys Georgia, just lights them up. He throws a really bad interception. Okay, the pick looked almost like a punt. I get it, but other than that, he absolutely surgically annihilated the number 1 defense, the number 1 team, and a historic team winning back-to-back national championships. He just sliced and diced him. So we lost a more respectable 50-30, I believe the score was, instead of, 50-14 or whatever it would have been. And Nuss almost threw for 300 yards in a single half doing that. Wisconsin, a lot of people have said, well, it was a bowl game. It was this. I'm not going to get too hungover in a bowl game. Here's the thing I must tell you. You could get hungover in a bowl game because Wisconsin was the best defense we played all season. And Jaden Daniels, the most big-time throws statistically recorded as on Pro Football Focus, his season-leading big-time throws was 4. For the most he had in a single game was 4. The dude won the Heisman, right? Garrett Nussmeier had 5 big-time throws in his only start against Wisconsin, the best defense LSU played all season. So what does that tell you? And then you see things like this, and yes, it shows a side to Garrett Nussmeier that maybe some fans haven't seen yet. This is stuff to me that's like, this is Garrett 101. This is stuff I've seen for years at this point. He has shown this type of poise, this type of leadership in the locker room for years already. As a backup, as the potential starter. When it seemed like Max Johnson was going to lose the job, Garrett was going to take over, and he didn't start the Arkansas game, but he basically came in after just the first drive and basically started that game. And he had that brilliant touchdown throw to Jack Besh that we have shown. We have shown that replay of that footage many times on this show. But if you haven't seen it, let's do it again. Yes, hey, buddy. Yes. You said dad now? Here we go. If you haven't seen this, this is so sick. This is Garrett Nussmeier as a freshman, okay? Freshman throwing to freshman Jack Besh, who's now at TCU, set up for a big year at TCU. Jack Besh led the team in catches and was second in yards that season for LSU. This was one of his touchdowns. Look at that from Garrett Nussmeier. Just ridiculous. And I remember Arkansas had a pretty damn high-rated defense that year. That's freakish. I love how Garrett this is something he showed against Wisconsin too, that we have also we've also dissected on this show before. The way he manipulates pass rushers. The guy's coming right in his face. That sounded terrible. A guy's blitzing and right into his grill. Okay, I think anyway I say it now at this point is going to be bad. But a guy's blitzing and they're bearing down on him right in his face. And Garrett will just know exactly, with almost like the dude's got eyes in the back of his head, exactly how to manipulate. Okay, I'm just going to step to my left, scoot a little, do my right, spin move like that right there. He's shown the entire repertoire. I mean, like, Garrett was disgusting against Wisconsin. Disgusting. He was filth. Let me show you. Let me show you again, because I don't think people understand. I wanted to start the show off with this kind of feeling, because I think as an LSU fan, you have to be excited by Garrett Nussmeier, and if you're not, you're a fool. I just hope for just continual health, and that's it. Like, just continual health and set him up and let him go. Because if you give this young man an opportunity, he's going to take advantage of it, and he's going to be an absolute assassin out there. And he's going to distribute the football kind of like a point guard in a way. Like, he's going to just set people up, hit them, and have no problem with them, being the successful one, taking it over for this one. 1 second, I have to get the screen smaller, or we might get a copyright strike for this one, which we do not want. I had a foul-mouthed setting that was over here. There we go. That's beautiful. I mean, I think it's still basically there. That's probably even better. Okay, we can switch back and forth. See, that's Garrett just kind of slinging it in the pocket right there, and that's what you're going to see him. But I want to show you where he's kind of. That's a sick throw. That's just a beautiful throw, and you're going to see a lot of that this season. Look at this. It's just command, release, and Mason Taylor. Look at that. Most tight ends get maybe 4 here. They get the first down. Maybe they're not athletic enough to even get the first down, but let's just say they're athletic enough to get the first down. They're probably going to get 5-6 yards. Mason Taylor almost puts him in there, almost scored. And this is the infamous Harold Perkins touchdown where he literally trucks that dude right in his face. This is a beautiful rollout here by Garrett. Just rolls out, surveys. He wants to hit someone in the flat right here. And it's not there. It's not there. He doesn't force something. But look at this throw. He throws this right over the top of this dude's arm. Number 14 right there. Are you kidding me? He literally just destroys 14 right there. That's a dangerous throw, but Nussmeier can make it. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. Like it's filth. I want to get to. Oh, here's what's going to make Caleb Jackson such a weapon this season. This is where we're talking about the way he manipulates this, steps up, and I think this is the interception. And the reason it's interception is because of this. Everything right here is great. It's this. He literally just kind of like, he literally just kind of like throws that thing and kind of like has the weirdest body shape when he has all this time, all this space, just a stupid play, and he knows it. And he's probably, it's like the number one play. He's like, no more, no more, no more. It's really the only negative thing to his game. Because this is a moment where he just loses the plot. And this could have really hurt LSU here. Luckily, we were able to come back and win this game because of Nuss. But also, you could argue Brian Thomas Jr. has got to fight more for that football, but it doesn't matter. It should have never come out of the arm of Garrett Nussmeier, because 1st and 10, whatever, like Garrett can pick up this first with his legs, or one of these guys can, and then you're sliding down. Or maybe you're waiting for Brian to like develop that route a bit more, but you're not throwing it right then. You're not throwing it like that. That is just ridiculous. I mean, that's just beautiful. That's just a beautiful, it shows you the type of range he's going to have, because it doesn't even look like he's breaking a sweat to throw that. It's very effortless. It's very it's mechanical. It's something that's learned. And this next one's going to be something. This is a great illustration. I love how Josh Williams finishes this play right here. I'm not going out of bounds, bitch. I'm mowing you over. Look at this. Boom. Want some, number 9? You don't have a choice. Nuss on the run, on the roll. From what I'm seeing in this footage, he hasn't made a mistake on the run except for that ridiculous interception. That is just a play that is worthy of majesty. That is a play that is worthy of a Golden Globe. Look at this. Oh. Outrageous filth-a-cough right there from Chris Hilton Jr. to toe tap that in. Oh. So, I mean, like, I just feel LSU has such a bevy of weapons. Of course, Noah Kane, the guy who caught that one, ran that one. He's not with the team no longer. But here's a big clutch play on the final drive from Kyron Lacey, a guy a lot of people are expecting to be that number 1 receiver. And he shows a lot of promise after the catch. A lot of promise after the catch. Another big play from Chris Hilton Jr. right there. That's a pass that's probably not that good of a pass, because here's the thing. If Garrett leads Chris here into this space beyond, Chris is probably going underneath, catching it, and walking into the end zone. But I think there's so many times Garrett has led Chris Hilton Jr. on passes throughout their career, throughout reps with each other, and Chris has botched some situations. I think he was like, let's just make sure he gets the ball and we get possession down there. Either way, or he just didn't get enough under it. But Chris Hilton Jr. adjusts unbelievably well here and makes the play. Sets LSU right up in scoring position. It's as good as the touchdown. You knew LSU were going to cash it in here. And then look at this. and this is I know from Brian Thomas Jr., no longer there, but that could be Kyron Lacy. That could be Aaron Anderson in the slot. That could be Xavier Thomas. Could be C.J. Daniels. There's many candidates for guys who could shine for this receiving core this upcoming season. And I was talking about it with some guys on the Spaces the other night. We did our first ever LSUODYSSEY.COM Spaces, and a few of us were just agreeing that LSU just have so many weapons in the passing game. The tight end core is the best LSU's ever had. It's going to have the number one all-time tight end in LSU history in Mason Taylor by the end of the season. He will have shattered Richard Dixon's records as long as injury doesn't befall him. And then you've got Tre'Dez Green, a generational talent, who's just kind of hanging out there right on the bench, who could be that future, he could be the future number one guy, but he could also come into this season and maybe an injury happens somewhere in the receiving core. We try him as a project, and we're just like, we cannot deny this kid. We cannot deny this talent. We are going all in with Tre'Dez Green. We are rolling. Could you see that happen? Sorry, I'm washing out this bowl real quick. Could you see that happen? LSU just being like, okay, we got Mason Taylor, Mac Markway, Tre'Dez Green, Kamorion Pimpton, who I could see being a freakish red zone target. You've got Xavier Thomas, C.J. Daniels, who are the backups. Most teams, those two would be starting for. Xavier Thomas was starting for Mississippi State. Did pretty well on one of the worst offenses I've seen in a long time in the SEC. C.J. Daniels, over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, one of only 9 receivers to achieve such a result last year. Of course, 2 coming from LSU as well, with Malik and Bryan. But C.J. Daniels is just right there. Aaron Anderson, a former 5-star, who really a lot of fans expected him to pop last year, myself included. But it became clear that he wasn't fully football ready. Like his injury that he sustained. I'm trying to think if it was in his senior year at Edna Carr or if it was at Alabama. I know I wrote when it happened in his profile that we just put up on LSUOdyssey.com. But whenever it was sustained, it had basically slowed him down a gear or two. And so you weren't seeing the full Aaron Anderson last year. It was kind of worrying. Were we going to? This offseason, I think you have to say you're going to see the full-on Aaron Anderson this season because he seems already like he's faster than last year. Just doesn't he? I mean, in the footage, he already seems like he's really upped up, a gear up the level. And I want to see his untapped potential really harvested. Because if you see someone like Aaron Anderson just going off from the slot, and you've got Chris Hilton Jr., Kyron Lacy, who everyone's already worried about and are kind of starting to build their resumes. What better for a receiving core than to or an offense than to have everyone on your offense be a fucking threat? Like, I don't understand why you would have anybody out there that's a decoy or everyone out there. The number one goal. The number one goal of any offense should be to force the defense to cover every blade of grass on that field. That is the number one goal of every offense. Because let me tell you this. If you force a defense to spread out, to get drained, to grind themselves into the ground, to run themselves in the ground, to chase, to have to nonstop harass, to harry just to even get a sniff of the ball, just to get you off the field, damn it. If you're doing that, you have a strong chance of winning that game because they physically won't be able to keep up with you. And when you look at, that offensive line, when you look at that receiving core, you look at Garrett Nussmeier, you look at the tight ends, of course, and the running backs, it all goes back to this is an offense at LSU that once again should be blanking teams, putting up outrageous points. The questions will always be about the defense. Whether it's 2019, whether it's 2023, potentially 2024 with Garrett Nussmeier, the questions will always be about LSU's defense. This season, I think we have a strong opportunity to overcome that kind of stigma of LSU sucks on defense. I think we can end that finally. And, we were able to end that for stretches of seasons. 2022, the first half of 2022, our defense was incredible. Our defense kept us in games when you're talking about Florida State, Auburn. I understand our defense, made some horrible plays against Florida State in the Superdome. They also buckled down big time in the red zone and stuffed Florida State countless times in the red zone. And what? They scored like 21 points or something when they had how many trips into the red zone? Like, that was actually a fantastic defensive effort if you throw out the busts. But, teams are going to have busts in college football. You're going to have busts against great receivers. It's just going to happen. So I count that as actually a pretty damn good defensive performance, the first edition of the fight against Florida State. Second year, not so much, of course. They kept us in the Auburn game where Jay Ward, B.J. Ojulari have that strip sack, and Jay Ward returns it for a touchdown. It's these type of plays that kept LSU, in games with a 10-win season, qualifying for an SEC title game in a season we had no right doing that. We had no roster to be able to do that. That defense shit the bed against Tennessee. They shit the bed. Could not stop the run at all. Could not stop the run against Tennessee. They ran it down our throats, Tennessee. And then you have the big explosion where Ashane and A&M just ran it right up our ass for something like 300 yards. It was outrageous. And we allow, of course, 40-plus points again. And that A&M loss cost us a chance potentially to be in the college football playoff with 2 losses. People say, we wouldn't have been. I don't agree with that. I think they would have absolutely put us in the college football playoff if we had beaten Georgia in the SEC title game and A&M. Of course they would have. We would have beaten the number 1 team as well as Alabama, as well as being, the SEC West champion and the SEC champion now, winning the SEC, Brian Kelly's first season. They would have been like, all right, Brian Kelly, let's see what you got. It'll be Georgia, Kirby Smart. It'll be Nick Saban, Alabama. It'll be LSU, Brian Kelly. And then it'll be Ohio State, Ryan Day, all on the college football playoff. That's what it should have been in 2022. LSU had a chance to make that happen, but a few things worked against us. We lost to A&M, and Jaden Daniels got hurt at the worst time. What happened in 2023? We lost that deciding game to Alabama, and Jaden Daniels got hurt at the wrong time. But also, think about it this way. If LSU do not lose that first game to Florida State in either year, in either 2022, 2023, if LSU do not lose to Florida State, things are a lot smoother, a lot less toxic, a lot less intense, a lot less like, breathing down your throat. The pressure is on every game. Every game's a do or die, or your season's, meaningless type of feeling to it. That's, if players are wondering, is this season meaningless or not? Are we going to even be able to qualify for a college football playoff or not with 2 losses? You're in this kind of wilderness where guys may or may not care. Coaches may or may not care. That's a dangerous place to be. And I understand it's LSU, and this group of kids do not half step it. When you're talking about like Will Campbell, Emory Jones, I mean, of course, there's always going to be your outliers. A few kids on the team who are cost the team somehow. They make some errors. They don't really care. There's no accountability. They don't really mind, screwing up. That riffraff has seemed to be just cut from this roster. Like, everywhere I see on this roster, I see guys who can contribute and offer something. Whether they're walk-ons, like, the running backs that Frank Wilson just brought in. When you're talking about John Emery Jr. at running back, some guy who everyone thought LSU, he was going to be done with LSU. And, he's moving on. He's going to UCLA for his last season. That guy even has eligibility. Instead, he could be that superstar back this year, him or Caleb Jackson. Both could. We could literally have 3 superstar running backs when you're talking about Josh Williams, Caleb, and John in the same backfield. They don't all have to own the stats, but you could have one guy be the touchdown guy, one guy be the yards guy. A guy who's going to get you down the field would probably could be Caleb Jackson. He's going to have the lung capacity to get you down the field. Then you have Josh Williams be that guy who's going to punch it in. Then you're going to have John Emery Jr. be that dual threat weapon. But so much potential with our backfield as well. We're kind of all over the place. Sage is seriously looking at us like, what the hell is going on with you, Daddy? We're kind of all over the place, kind of just talking about how excited we are for this season, because you look at the offense, it's fireworks everywhere you go. The defense, I'm going to have questions about this defense, but here's the thing. I know the coaching is going to be there. If the coaching is there, the players will always have a chance. Always. Let's go through some of these comments. Let's see here. Oh, he just retweeted Carius Kern. He hasn't retweeted the... there's him bowling. There's CJ Ross. That's CJ Ross bowling. Never mind. Yeah, send me a link of where that footage is, because I'm in the middle of all the comments and all that crap. So send me a link totally of where that's from. Hermload says the team healthy right now. It looks really good right now, Herm. Herm, right now the team, as you know, J.K. Johnson, Jair Brown, both had injuries from. Jair Brown had one from Ohio State. J.K. Johnson had one existing from Ohio State. Comes into LSU, everything's okay, and then he gets another injury. And we've never seen him play it down for the Tigers. Johnson looks like he's back, like he's gonna be okay, like he's gonna just step on, kick on from here. And then you've got Zy Alexander, who was dealing with an injury. We just showed a photo of him earlier on this show, and if you missed that, we were showing the news that he's back in summer workouts, full participation. He is at 100% health, Zy Alexander, from his prior injury. So it is fantastic news on the injury front from the Tigers. There's one or two little interesting injury situations that might have to be monitored for an extensive point in time, but I think there's time for those situations to resolve themselves, and we will not be divulging that information, we have decided, because I do not want to give opponents any type of information injury-wise. Like, if it's obvious some guy just like twisted his knee on the field, it's like, oh, it's probably an ACL, and then the dude tells me it's an ACL tear. I'm like, can I confirm that news publicly? And they say yes, and then I confirm that news. I don't think it's really giving them, information. If it's like a guy can keep playing on an injury, and teams are going to target that injury if they know about it, I don't say a word about that. That's something I break. That's something I would ask. I ask permission for the stuff I break anyway. So if for A, that wouldn't be permitted to be broken, but B, I wouldn't even ask for permission because, there's 2 seasons where Mekhi Wingo played at LSU. Both seasons, he was hurt for probably 3/4 of his time on the field at LSU. Mekhi Wingo, playing through injuries, playing through a torn groin muscle, and then playing through a torn labrum. That's nuts on the defensive line, defensive tackle. And we're not talking a snap here or there. We're talking every snap he's playing. And really just rarely getting a rest. He gave everything he could for the Tigers, laid it on the line. There's some you can play through, there's some you can't. And this is an injury, and this is a player that I just want to leave this alone and let this situation develop and see where it goes. Bruce, the Pope Douglas says, "We'll be home for this. Sweet. You seem to really back Nuss fully. Why do you back Nuss so confidently?" I mean, we basically just went on about Nuss. So I mean, like, Bruce, I'm sure you've been watching this, and I'm sure you've gotten at least some type of form of answer to that question from hearing what we've said. But if you didn't, I mean, I can tell this comment's from way earlier. This is from when we first posted the link to the show. So I'm not like laughing at that like you haven't been listening. I'm laughing at I just laugh. Yes, Seiji the Younger. Yes. The reason I back Garrett Nussmeier is because the dude is so confident. You use the word. Garrett is confident. He's got that moxie. He's an alpha. He's already got the stones to lead this team. He's got the mentality of a dude who's not going to back down. He's got the mentality of a guy who's going to say, "Hey, give me the ball. I want that situation, game on the line, win or go home. I want that situation. Give me that." That's the type of player he is, and that's something that you got to be very excited about if you're an LSU fan, because if we're going to win a national championship this year, there's going to be a lot of do or die type moments, a lot of high pressure must-have moments. and you're going to have to buckle it in and back the nuss bus and just ride or die. And I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot more riding than there's going to be dying. Oh my God, my nose. Killing me. Okay, I'm right here. I'm right here. What do you need? Terrible sound. Who is your favorite, Lacey or Hilton? My favorite? I mean, like, I guess you're asking me who would I put in a game or something over one or the other? Who would I choose one or the other? What? Luckily, we don't have to choose one or the other. We can put them both out there. But if you were to ask me who would I pick, one or the other, I think I'd go with Chris, because Chris has that extra dimension of speed. Like, as far as potential, like, Chris, I think, could be so much more of a weapon just because of that extra track pace, you know. But if you want to go with like someone who's like proven it more on the field, it would be Kyron, like, no doubt, because Kyron, he had 7 touchdowns last year in a year when it would have been hard to even get a target away from Malik or Brian. And so I'm not sure who I'd pick there, because I can see why you would pick one for a certain reason and one you'd pick another for another reason. And I think that's why they're going to complete each other so well in this offense. You know what I'm saying? I think that's why you're going to see Lacey and Hilton Jr. just really be dynamic together in this offense. Let's see the next one we got here. Chester Langston. Chester's been getting into it with people on Twitter and stuff. Like, dude, you need to chill out. You don't have to stick up for me with Pooh Bear and all those people. Like, I don't even care. Like, you don't, like, they can say whatever they want. You don't have to defend us, white knight us, you know. I mean, there's a dude that literally has a name that says Nick Saban's illegitimate cream pies. Like, you don't have to defend us to a guy like that, okay? And I think you should understand why. He says, "You are the best dude in LSU media." I don't know about that, but I will take it. Thank you. He says, "Love following your work. How much of an impact will this new staff have in week 1? Well, they better have a big impact in week 1, like, not just like a hyperbole kind of by week 1. How will they do this, or will they be ready by week 1? Like, we have to beat USC. That is not a joke. The first game of this season is an absolute must-win game. Absolute must-win game. LSU must beat USC. I can't say it any more clear. Like, I mean, you can look at the schedule. You can do the math. If LSU don't beat USC, such a more winnable game even than playing Florida State the last 2 years with Jordan Travis. And Jared Verse, you had a really, really nasty veteran Florida State defense too. You should absolutely maul USC. And here's the thing. Just hand the ball off. run it down their throat. They won't be able to stop you. They won't be able to get Garrett Nussmeier, that offense, off the field. That offensive line will control that game, and here's the reason why you want to do that. We were saying this in the spaces the other night, which you can review on LSUOdyssey.com. We posted the link to the recording of that, actually. Unbelievable great time with our fan friends, people who love LSU as much as us. Big facts. And this is the point we were trying to make. I think we all came to the consensus LSU must dominate possession this season to help that defense figure it out. Keep the defense fresh. Keep the defensive line fresh. You're going to need to just control the clock. I'm not meaning in a conservative win every game 20-10 way. But don't you wish that maybe our defense wasn't on the field so much last year? Like maybe that wouldn't have been a big of a difference. But if LSU offense would have been able to prevent themselves from scoring every single second, which, okay, that's fine, but sometimes you almost need a traditional setup because of the values that brings, where you control the clock, means your defense gets to have a rest, your defense gets to make adjustments, figure shit out, get their heads together, get their heads on straight. It's very, very valuable. And I think you're going to see that with this offensive line. Chester, we just literally brought up the Zy Alexander injury. I know you asked this question earlier. It says at 2:25 p.m. But definitely rewind the show, rewind the live stream, and you'll hear it. Mike Prima, we showed his comment from earlier, says, "What up, people?" He's from Bayou Chico, Louisiana. Stan Waters says, "Does number 7 change from year to year?" Not if the guy who was wearing it is still wearing it. He's still there. That's Will Campbell. But because a lot of the times the guys get the number 7 at the start of their third year, their money year, we don't usually see these guys wear the number 7 for multiple years. Tyrann Mathieu would have been one of them, but he was kicked out. Jamar Chase, he wouldn't have worn it multiple years, but the year he was going to wear it, he opts out. There's been a lot of these situations. But no, Will Campbell would be wearing the number 7. Yeah. Patrick Peterson is the only Tiger to wear it multiple years because of all what I just said. And so Will Campbell will be the first to do that, which is pretty badass. Number 7 isn't a curse anymore, and I don't think it ever was. I mean, Delpit won the Thorpe the year he wore 7. He had a lot of trials and tribulations that year, but it ended with him as a national champion. And he was amazing in every big game, really. What up, Chris? Chris, my bro, how you doing, man? Emma Cat says, played good enough D against Bama in 22. Yeah, exactly. That's another game where 22 defense showed up and played well. Chris Melders has been watching Bryce Underwood videos from LSU camp today. He is so smooth and his delivery is flawless. Trying to tempt my expectations, but kid is special. He is the number one quarterback of the 2025 class, who LSU have signed, Bryce Underwood. Back at LSU, throwing the ball around. Just looks like a special specimen. I mean, he's already shown he can be that dude, that next superstar quarterback at LSU, but there might be something even more rare about him that the others didn't have. You know, there's something weird about this guy where like the ball is so accurate. He's so accurate. It's almost like the way he sees the game is so much more advanced at his age. One second, everybody. 1 second. Maybe some food. Some food, baby. Yes. Let's have it cool off. So eat it quick. Have to wait so long. Oh, cracker? What's your elbow? I don't know why you gave me an elbow. I asked him if he wanted a cracker, and he just like gives me his elbow. He's like, "What are you doing, dude?" Hammer Cat One says, if the defense wasn't so terrible last year, Nuss could have led a comeback against Bama. I don't think so, man. It was not going to happen. It felt like Jaden Daniels was going to win us that game, like him and Malik, almost single-handedly. Let's not forget Malik Neighbors had 171 yards and over 10 catches. He went off. And LSU still lost that game somehow, and it's because of the cheap shot of Jaden Daniels, and our defense could not just get a couple stops at any point in that game. Really, I could not believe that we openly, surgically eviscerated Nick Saban's defense, and we still lost the game by like 2 scores. Unacceptable to me. Unacceptable. Whoa. I'm a Cat One says, I still want bragging rights with the number one class, number one quarterback, running back, wide receiver, offensive tackle. I mean, you know, we've got the number one quarterback, running back still. Of course, we had the receiver, but Corey Moore is left. We have the number one overall interior O-lineman at guard, with Carius Kern, who just barely committed. So you've got a freakish setup there already. how rare it is to have all of those at once at a program. I It's almost unheard of. I've never heard of it happening. I think somebody somewhere has the recruiting stats for that, to prove how many times that may have happened or haven't, or how many times this team had the number one quarterback, or how many times they had the number one quarterback and number one running back and number one. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's too many. I don't think it's many at all. I think it might be like one at the most. I think maybe one team at the most has done this. There's 1 second. All right, Sadie, this is probably done. No, don't be throwing this. We just cleaned this all up as a surprise for Mama in here, and it looks so nice in here. And I bet he's gonna just destroy it everywhere. It doesn't look good in here. It looks too clean. You know, like seriously, there's times he will get crazy when I'm cleaning up and be like, "What are you doing? Like, you're cleaning up my crumbs. I was gonna save that for later." You're like, "It's weird. Like, we're not having it, buddy. As crazy as difficult as it is to put out your messy fires, we will do it, and then we're gonna teach you to do it as well." We've already started having him cleaning up his own stuff. When it's really egregious, like he's just throwing shit all over the place, just you know, like a toddler does, I'm totally like, pick that up. Like that tone gets him. Like I don't have to yell. I don't do that shit. I don't have to do that shit. If I just say pick that up, he knows, and he does it. And he picks it up and he throws it without fail. He throws it in the dustpan, which usually makes another mess that I have to clean up. But it's really more the principle of the thing that he's learning. That's enough for me. Sage, you want your carbonara? You want carbonara? Carbonara? That's not an answer. That's just a. Sounds like a butt. It doesn't sound like someone talking. It sounds like a butt. Come here, Sadie. Want to say hi to everybody, Sadie? Chris says, by the way, it is officially hot in Louisiana. Hope you're enjoying that Utah weather. It is hot here, too. We really have been avoiding it outside, but I guarantee, as bad as it is here, it's not even as bad as it was a few weeks ago, where it was in the hundreds, and it was truly nasty. It's been kind of raining on and off and kind of weird, and so it's kind of cooled it down a bit. Like it was in the 60s and stuff the last few days. At the first of this week, it was pretty nice. It's back up into the 90s, but I know it's nothing like Louisiana. And, you know, Utah out here, there's kind of like a Rocky Mountain dry, kind of like arid heat that is just no fun, and it sucks, I think, worse than the humidity heats of the South. But some of those humidity heats in the South are just they're just literally dangerous for your body to even take. Just suck the air right out of you. It's something else. Hey, Bubba. What did you do with your drink? What do you do with your drink? How about I'm asking him questions he can't answer? And I know he can't, and I'm still asking him these questions. It's hilarious. Let's give you a little bit of juice, not too much. I shouldn't even give it. You don't even need the juice. Yeah, you don't need juice. Right? 7. One second, guys. This neighborhood is fucking ridiculous. I literally walk over here to give Sage this thing of water. There's just a dude sitting on our porch blasting some shitty music, about to light some cigarette or who knows what it is, and he's just like blasting some shit, just sitting on our porch like it's his. It's like I just walk like, what are you doing? Oh, sorry. He just leaves. It's like I've had to do that a few times when Sage is sleeping. It's like Chelsea texts me like, I'm trying to put Sage to sleep and these assholes are blasting that horrible shitty music, and I'll have to go over there and be like, shut the fuck up. And like, I don't yell or scream because that just sets people off. I don't go over there and shut the fuck. That just makes people crazy. I just go over there and be like, hey, I have a fucking baby that's needing to sleep. If you don't shut the fuck up, we're calling the police, and we have no problem with you getting busted. And we're sure half of you have warrants, so shut up. And they'll shut up. This neighborhood's annoying. There's just a complete lack of, what's the word I'm looking for here? There's just a complete lack of just courtesy. Like, hey, this is your front porch of your place. I'm not gonna come over here and plug my charger into this stupid outlet that's out here and turn your faucet water on and do all this other bullshit and plug this thing in your outlet out here. And it's just a fucking, like, smoking meth, 40 feet away from our place in some abandoned house's backyard. Like, this neighborhood is a joke. Our place is amazing. I love this place. Outside, no bueno. So we're not sure. We're probably going to move. Have to make a decision here quick. Because kind of crave that small town life when you've been living in a city amongst just a bunch of annoying, loud shitheads for a bit, where it's just like, oh, okay, I'm kind of sick of living in an environment where nobody gives a shit about personal space or personal freedoms even, or, courtesy. Like, oh, your car got destroyed. Oh, that's just going to happen. It's a city. There's always these ridiculous, that's what happens in a city. And it's like, oh, what? You guys completely ruined some personal property of mine? It's just, that's what happens living in a city? And it's like, I guess so. And it really is true, because it's just like a shitty, expensive, overly hyped not really worth it kind of place. And I love what this place is inside, though. I will say that. And it's been it's great inside, but uh, it's a quaint little neighborhood. If they could just get rid of the drug addicted problem around here, the prostitute problem, the homeless situation, it would be such a nice neighborhood. It'd be perfect. But there, until they do that, it's not gonna. It's not gonna. It always is gonna have that element of danger. But I'm not too worried about any of it. It's just temporary annoyance. Well, I mean, we've really got right now. If you look at our offensive line room, we've really built up quite a stable of talent. And we could afford 2025 to have a few holes offensive line wise recruiting, but it won't. Brad Davis is still going to stack with this class. Yes, he is. I mean, like, he really has some sick. He really could be motioned out wide, catching the football, having at least 6, 7, 8, maybe even 10 targets a game, and I wouldn't bat an eyelash. He is that good. Like Marshall Falk was, where like the St. Louis Rams would motion him out of the backfield all the time. And he was always effective. Marshall Falk was always effective. Like, actually, there's one game he wasn't effective. That 2001 Super Bowl against the Patriots. Yeah, that was one game where Belichick was able to kind of put a lid on him, if I remember correctly. Anyway, tonight is a rarity. I put Sage to sleep tonight. I have to be the one to put him to bed, to rock him to sleep. Like, it's quite a process. Sage, he's good for me. He slept amazing. I got so much writing done from like 9ish, 9:30ish to 12:30 or so when I went to bed. But Chelsea left for a few days. She went in a last second kind of random opportunity to go to Texas to expand her special effects makeup skills, and her job paid for it and everything. And you take advantage of those things and you go for it, and you have to do it. You have to go for it. And she's been there watching Sage when I've been going around to Louisiana, when I've been going on my trips, when I've been going to Atlanta. Like, she's been the trooper. She was pregnant for a couple of those times where she was pregnant with Sage, and I'm off running around with you know Jack Besh driving around in his car and going and seeing Death Valley and going to the SEC title game and all this crazy shenanigans. And so it's her time. She's going to go tear it up in Texas and come back on Sunday or Saturday, either one. I'm trying to remember. if it's Saturday or Sunday. Either way, we'll talk to her tonight and figure that out. But point is, I've got a long few hours ahead of me. So everybody, wish me luck, and that I'll be able to get Sage to go to sleep when he should. Everybody, thank you for watching, and we'll be posting some articles this weekend. We've been doing a lot of writing. We got these articles we keep editing and keep massaging, and I really am excited about you guys seeing them, but I want them perfect. And I won't compromise that, because I know if they're perfect, they're really going to have the impact they'll have. If they don't have certain things, it's just the impact won't be there. So hang in with me, and this weekend's going to be very interesting on LSUODYSSEY.com. So there's definitely some news percolating with something interesting is with one of those articles as well. So keep your eyes peeled, everybody. The Dog Days of Summer still always will have the news at LSUOdyssey.com. We've still been fulfilling that. Everybody, we're about that smoke. We want the smoke at LSUOdyssey.com. Have a good one, everybody.